everybody. Welcome again to this episode. Today we are reviewing portfolios. There's not much talk, or um, what do we call it? Slides and all of that. We are here for a practical session. So my name is Lizzy. For people that are just joining us for the first time, my name is Lizzy Dahunsi. I'm a product designer, and I have with me Benjamin. He's a senior product designer with experience that we need for what we are here for. So, irrespective of the level you are, this particular knowledge is actually very useful for you. We all have portfolios, irrespective of the profession you are in, right? I know that we have most designers here, but if you're a developer, if you're a data scientist, if you are, as long as your work has to do with portfolio, you're going to get one or two tips that's actually going to make a huge difference in your portfolio. And we know the era that we are right now. Your portfolio has to be very, um, something to reckon with. When I came up with this workshop, I had to reach out to Ben. I'm like, because of this session, even me, I want to go and like update my portfolio. I want to give it like a makeover. And I really tried to ensure that I complete it before this session. But I've not completed it, but I'm currently working on it. And I'm also taking tips and tricks from Benjamin on ways to improve it from the way it used to be, because I've not updated my portfolio like in a while, right? So you don't see this session as, oh, maybe it's for people that they don't need it. Myself, when I need it, or you all need it. Even Benjamin that's going to be helping us is also like growing daily, and is going to be sharing the experience, ideas, and everything that he knows in order to make our portfolio do great with us today. So not to waste our time, like I said, there's no no patronizing anybody here today. So we're just going to get straight into it. Benjamin, do you have the links and everything with you?
I do, but I
Your
don't know.
microphone is muted.
Is this still muted? I'm talking now.
Uh,
Can you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm trying to log
Yeah,
in,
is
but
something you can display from your end or
yeah, I'm trying to, but I'm having issue with Luma. It's not loading properly for some reason. And I have to force reload the browser. I don't know why.
okay.
Mm,
Okay, so while you're doing that, let me just keep us engaged.
let me
Let
see
me
if I
know
can
when you're
log
ready.
in. I think
Um,
okay. I think it's working
okay.
now.
So okay, are you good?
All right. Yeah,
I have
I have.
Docker's experts. Hmm?
mm, All right. Yeah,
What did
I
you
do have.
say?
I have. It's working now. Let me share my screen. Mm,
Okay. So before Ben shares his screen, I don't know if there's anybody here that you want us to start with you. I feel like it is actually good for us to start with people that are actually on ground right now, that to just select, randomly. So if there's anybody here that you want us to start with, uh um just put the link in the chat, or just signify, would try and find your name. I know understand how people like to be anonymous about things like this, right? So I just put in chat, or send it to me, and then I'll send it to Ben, and then he would, so nobody has to know whether it is yours or not. Okay. So if you want us to start with you, just, you have my WhatsApp. So just message me and say you want us to start with you, then I'll then and then we can start with you. And if there's nobody, then we'll just pick randomly from the links that we have. So I'm waiting 2 minutes. Elizabeth, Zuckers, Deborah, Dan, David, Augustine. Is there anyone that wants us to start with you? Just chat me up, and then or send me the link, and then we'll start with you. Anybody? Okay, I guess we'll just have to start. Uh, okay, okay, I have one. All
All
right.
right. Elizabeth.
Can you see that?
I have seen. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, I have two.
That's fine. Open it now.
Okay, three now. So you can share your screen, then we can take over from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Can you guys see my screen? A thumb up would do fine. And then I can proceed. Can you see my screen? Let me be sure of that. All right. That's good. All right. Thank you once again. Yeah, my name is Ben, a senior product designer. I've been in industry for about 6 years now, and also been in multiple industries: fintech, crypto, health tech, and many other industries you can mention. I'm quite versatile, if it's by that. So I'm more than the right person when it comes to giving opinions on cases like this. You understand? So different kind of experts get to reach out to me on advices on career, or maybe trying to traject with their portfolio, trying to sell it out properly, many other things as well, not just design, could even be business related. Yeah, I'm quite versatile about that. So today is going to be more of a subjective conversation. Why it being subjective is also, you can also consider it objective at the same time. Lizzie invited me here where I spoke a lot about AI. And during that period when I spoke about it, some people were still skeptical about using it. But now I'm sure a lot are scared of using it. I mean, of not using it actually, because now AI will take your job. AI is this. When you scroll 2 minutes, you're already seeing AI this, AI that. AI has taken this one's job, this and that. Um, the people like me and the industry are quite familiar with this wave. It is a very huge bubble and to burst anytime soon. You understand? It's not something that will stay for long. I was there, I saw Web3 come and go. I was there, I saw what's the name of those XR, VR, they came and go. All these huge bubbles, they've always been there. AI had three bubbles. This is the third time AI bubble is coming up. For those who are not even really familiar, but some people actually believe is now that AI got the hype. AI got the hype like 3 times. AI created three bubbles. I think that's probably the most receptive and repeated one, as compared to others. But now these bubbles exist doesn't mean they fade, or even if the bubble bursts tomorrow, doesn't mean that skill is not needed or is not required. If you check most of the job opportunities out there today, they are already including use of AI. A last job interview I had, they after I kind of like worked on the design task, they asked if I used AI, and they literally asked how I was able to utilize AI. Now, the reason why most of these questions will be asked and the usage of this AI will be asked is because they want AI to be used in an expert manner. They don't want the case where a staff will be hired and then carrying in the entire company's data and feeding it to AI in the name of wanting to get fast deliveries and the rest. That's not actually need to have a job, right? That is the whole point of having a good portfolio. Now, at the earlier days, maybe let's say like 3 years back, having a portfolio website wasn't really a big deal. A lot of people tend to have more like third-party platforms. That there was one called Bento at that time. I was a very big user of Bento for their third-party portfolio platform. It was quite easy. All you just needed to do was put in all your maybe your case studies all rounded up, and then make them available on Bento. And then Bento had a very sweet and cheeky UI, so everybody who sees it will be like, "Oh, this is very nice," and they get. But unfortunately, they got acquired by a bigger company, and because of that, people started finding other alternatives. And one of the major alternatives that came into um, then we had the likes of Framer and Webflow, which became more popular. Very straightforward page builder. For older designers, you actually know that Framer used to actually look like Figma. You understand? But this was the case where they couldn't compete, you understand? And they decided to do something much unique. But I won't call it unique. All I'll say is they made it more simple because it was something in which Webflow introduced first. A case where you design and your design can immediately come to life. You understand? And that was what Framer decided to do. Framer decided to build on, take advantage of that simplicity in UI, you understand, and implementation, and then they became a better success than the likes of Webflow. They even had more people talking about them, more ads, and the rest. Now, like I said, most of the stuff here I would say are subjective, but in the end, in the long run, they are going to help you guys a lot. Now, currently, either as a junior or as a senior, due to the influx of AI, nobody is anybody's mate anymore. Like anyone can be higher than you, regardless of the fact that we have senior and junior. Now, the only difference is what the company actually wants. There are still a very good chance of someone who's a junior level getting a senior level job. You know, and whereas there are also cases where a senior will get a junior level job, mostly because some of these companies don't actually fancy you as a senior. That's why I don't really buy the idea of someone calling me senior designer, mid level, and all. I prefer being called a product designer, being called a certain expert. I just like seeing it the way you see it for a doctor. Now, before you can call a senior doctor, it probably maybe the doctor must have been like 20 to 30 years. You understand? Even if the doctor is, quite an expert, they don't mostly call them senior doctor until you get to an older level. And I tend to lean in that direction because there are lots of buyers out there. You can be a very good senior designer in your company today, and then when you're looking for a job elsewhere, and then you now feel, oh, you are a senior. Now, by the time you start applying for a job, you realize that nobody wants to hire you as a senior. But by the time you change your role and then maybe put it mid-level or something, or just product designer in general, you realize that you may even get more opportunity because not every company has the same ranking as the company you used to be. And I believe these are one of the mistakes that designers and other kind of professionals should learn earlier in their career. You understand? Not relying so much on being a senior or mid level, but the main focus there is actually knowing the requirements needed. You see, it's very specific 2 to 3 years, 4 to 3 years. You understand? If your resume don't mostly match the required years, the AIs that are scanning your CV will flag it out immediately, almost immediately. You understand? That's what it does, especially in a case where you are going to a mass application platform where everybody is applying at the same time. They mostly use AI to scan everyone's CV or resume. And when they do that, they have to scan the years because they'll make sure that years match the expected requirements of who they want to hire. Those are the things you look at because we can assume that 1 to 4 years is not senior. That if you're on the fourth year as a designer, is not senior. Now, when you are being looked at as a senior designer, probably maybe like 6 years upward. It's not even at 5 years, you're not a senior designer. Now, other people can acknowledge you just because you are very good. You understand? Sometimes it's not even about the years. It's mostly about the company itself. You understand? Most of the companies, the big companies out there, they acknowledge you as a senior. You understand? That is also another thing you need to consider. Big company senior designers are different from the small guys or enterprise level or SME level kind of designers. Those are also things people don't look at, especially when applying for a certain kind of job. If those things are considered when applying for job, you actually get more chance and stand out there, especially among your level, rather than putting your eyes above where you may never ever touch. You understand? So those are the things we look at. Now, another case as a designer is personal branding. I noticed the portfolios here, and I see that most of you tend to use your first name and last name as your portfolio URL. Now, on the long run, it's good, but on the short run, it will force you to rebrand in the future. And when you rebrand in the future, SEO has already captured you as probably Elizabeth, so and so, Augustine, so and so, Duncan, so and so. Now, that SEO is what you're going to work with on a long line of your career as a designer in order for them to easily search for you. Now, the question there is, are you the only one bearing those first and last name? There's someone out there that can be bearing your name. Are you easy to find the moment they put you up on the internet? Like, oh, they write your first name and then it comes up, your first and last name, and it comes up. Now, these are things that personal branding helps with. Now, as a designer, I know a lot of us may not really like have, that money to, want to start buying, paying for, what do they call it, a business name and all those things. But there are cases where you can still own your own personal branding. Even if you don't have to pay now, at least you can still build your branding online. That's how you build your presence online. Now, whenever you type it, or whenever someone tends to search for you, you understand, you're always going to pop up on the feed. You understand, you pop up either with the full name, your name, or with your branded name. Because now, cases like this, where you start with your full name as your maybe portfolio URL, sooner or later you may want to do an agency for yourself. Now, that agency may not necessarily link to your full name. So that means you have an SEO detail out there just for your first name and last name. And then now you're trying to build on that SEO detail just for your personal brand. Now that is literally like starting from the beginning. Now, at an early stage, it's good that you realize that, oh, you can actually have a merger of both. If you feel that you want to stay with this first name and last name consistently till you end that career, then be my guest. But if you feel on the long run, you probably want to have an agency for freelancing gigs and maybe other stuffs, then a very good advice is look for how to link your name and your brand name together as one. Now, in cases where they search for Benjamin Onyebuchi or they search for Ben Big Studio, this is my own, it's going to link to both. You understand? Where you keep your professional search on your resume, and then maybe your portfolio URL carries your brand name. These are core essential things that people tend to look out for, especially when it comes to searching for you on the internet. Now, why searching for you on the internet may be one thing. On that resume of yours, you need to make sure that your portfolio URL is available there. Now, I've been talking about portfolios, and there's one thing I felt I needed to put out there regarding portfolio. Why I would agree the use of the likes of Webflow and Framer. There are some noticeable red flag platforms that I'm going to be putting out there right now. Now, one of the big red flag platform there is Dribble. Dribble now, not before. Having a Dribble account now and claiming it as your portfolio platform is a very huge red flag. Now, I'm going to show you the reason why, and you'll see. I'm going to act. So let's see if I can browse from here. So we have Dribble. Okay. So let's assume I met this guy, David, and I saw one of his work. You understand? I saw one of his work. Now I fancies David's work because obviously I was reviewing his resume, for example. Oh, David's work is nice. Now by the time I do a bit of scroll, I realized that I saw people's work 100 times better than David's work, just directly below. Dribble alone already makes it hard for you to get a job. Now, if someone was interested in hiring you, they've already seen six different people here. As you can clearly see, six different people here. You understand? That does it better than David. And will be subjected to want to reach out to either of them. These are one of the red flags in having the likes of Dribble as your platform. or go-to platform for portfolio. It is a pure red flag. Dribble should never be the first thing in your mind. Now, I will only consider it for juniors who are still building. You understand? The only time you need to have things in dribble is, oh, you can put out works there on dribble. It's not bad. You need to have your works out there, obviously. There need to be a place where you can express yourself, put your designs. I have mine too. You understand? But it being your primary portfolio is a pure red flag. The next one would be what they call it? Behance. Behance is on the middle. I could still give it a grain. Now the advantage is Behance fixed what Dribble couldn't fix. And that is the case um where I'm currently looking at this person's work on Behance. And by the time I'm done scrolling, I wouldn't have an opportunity to view someone else's work, just his work. Listen, Dribble does not, I mean, Behance doesn't suggest anything aside that person's work. But Dribble, on the other hand, will tempt you. But now there's just one downside to it. Someone who is coming to review your work may not have seen Behance before. You know, now maybe the person has no idea how Behance works. Maybe the person is not a designer. Maybe the person is a HR person. And then the person decides to leave this page. Now, if the person decides to leave this page, they would realize that this platform consists of other places where they can find good designers as well. What does that also mean? It means you've made the work easy for them. You know, now I can just come here, I'll look for very good work that works, and then you wouldn't want to be the person that diverts the person that is supposed to hire you, your future hire, to another part of the market. You understand, where you can start seeing people who are better than you. You know, exactly. Exactly. Augustine got it right. They will not collect food for your mouth like that. And it's gone. You understand? You were the one they came to see. But instead of you to just let them attend to you, he said, no, come and see me and then see others. You understand? There are other people here that are better than me. You understand? That is literally what you tell them without telling them. You understand? So I'll give it an orange flag, not necessarily a green. You understand? So these two platforms, despite how they are very good, they give you job opportunity, no doubt. You understand? You need to make sure that your work is very, very good before you can start showing someone that, oh, this is my Dribble account. You can check my works out here. You understand? If your work is not that good enough, you understand, you will only be redirecting your future hire to another platform, to another person entirely. You understand? So that's why I do not buy the idea of anybody going to use Dribble or Behance as their go-to portfolio platform. It's a pure red flag. And then maybe I can give Behance the orange one. It's still there. You understand? And then someone spoke about storytelling. I saw it among the list of stuff on what do they call it, on Luma. Someone spoke about storytelling, and what I can tell you for free is storytelling is mostly based off experience. Is either you experience it or you read about it, not about just writing. You understand? So those are the things that actually help as regards storytelling. Yeah. Now, if you need the aid of AI in terms of storytelling, the best thing you can do is pour out your raw knowledge and give it to AI. Now, tell AI that this is all the information you have about, a certain thing you want it to define properly for you. Maybe in your current case study you are working, you don't want to follow a strict way or maybe a certain way in which everybody tend to follow. You want to follow a more story-like manner. All you have to do is share your raw information and then tell it what to do. The mistake people keep making when using AI is believing that they need an all-in-one prompt in order to get the best out of the AI. I can tell you this for free that alongside maybe possible details like, oh, extra informations, to be honest. Those extra informations those are the things that are going to help define the answers properly. Those are what are going to help make your answers different from others. If, for example, I now am currently trying to apply for a job and I bring in the detailed job description of that particular job, the AI is not going to provide the same information that it provides, the same way it provides for others. And that is because I literally built my entire personality on that AI platform. So the AI knows how I communicate, the AI knows how I do things, the AI knows me head to toe because I gave it all my details. Like my personality in general. So whenever it's trying to generate something, it's going to generate it in a personalized manner. And the personalized manner is something that is something that, oh, when someone looks at it, they will assume it's AI, whereas it's not. Now, an AI has become more advanced now, whereby this personalized manner has become more personalized. Even communicating with AI now has become more interesting than it used to be in the past when it was quite rigid. So the next part is the key things in studies include I think I have to write them down. One of them there is problem. People tend to make mistake when it comes to defining problem. They just state the problem. They don't really like define it like, oh, this is a problem and this is what I really need to fix there. You understand? One thing they need to see is the problem. What are you trying to solve? You understand? Is it something new? Is it existing? Is it concurrent? You understand? These are the things people want to see. The problem statement is the vital things. Now, problems don't just exist anywhere. You understand? They exist from somewhere. They came from somewhere, and that is where your thinking process comes into play. Would like to know your thinking process as regard how you were able to figure out that this is a problem and why you're trying to solve it. Now, once your thinking process in that aspect has been able to capture the problem, it also starts to consider the solution for that problem. And that is where research and defining your audience comes into play. Now, the next part of it is talking about your specific contribution to your project. In most cases, it's something that can be defined at the earlier beginning, letting them know that when you are done defining your role, it becomes easier dropping in storytelling, telling them about what you did here, what you did here. You let them know if you are the only one who worked on that project or you worked alongside with other guys, you let them know that this is what you did. You understand? So that is where It is not an article that you cannot explain. If you make it an article you can't explain, it becomes hard. You understand? It's almost like when you are going to a TEDx and you want to showcase a particular project or build that you worked on. You understand? And then you are not able to showcase that project. Now, this is where the issue falls in. Now, so despite the fact that the case study kind of look good in a way, the issues there is we're not able to capture some information almost immediately. You understand? And I already indicated them. And hopefully you can always come back and revisit. Or you can also reach out to me if you need extra information on this. 'Cause I don't want to push in so much. Now, another thing here is let's view one more. Viewing the project. Yeah, so this is the other thing. Problem is missing in this particular one. You understand? Problem is missing again. You understand? And when you assume the person who has this is a very young person, like it's quite young in design field, because obviously it not be someone of 4 years that will have this. Probably someone very young, and it still needs more like revision very
Recording is
quickly.
on.
You understand? Before you can clearly say that, oh, this is actually good for you to start showcasing. Or else you only be selling yourself short for the smaller part in the market. And these days, nobody is hiring juniors. Everybody wants to hire state of the art for a cheap price. You know, that's one of the things that's the reason why you have to showcase everything out there and get and also sell yourself properly. Because most of the time they will see, this girl will be affordable, maybe like 100K. Let's hire this one. They hired you not because you're good, they hired you because your work was subpar. You understand? That was why they hired you. Like, and then they will take advantage of you. And then you end up going in that place. You know, and then they will keep whining you that you are good. You are good. Don't worry. We'll increase your salary to 150 very soon. And after you work like 1 year, they'll not give you 150. And especially if you don't know how to sell yourself. Your products will be able to sell yourself for you too. The same way you're able to sell your product to others. And don't be much of a writer on the internet if your product itself in which you put out there, as your case studies, are not sellable. And those are most of the important things there. Readability is a very big deal. And then another thing is visual. Designers don't spend too much time on visual. At least if you're not going to spend so much time on visual, you need to spend some more time on your thumbnails. The thumbnails are very important. People don't put in effort on thumbnail, and that's quite sad. Whereas some people actually do. Your thumbnail doesn't have to be the first screen on your hero section. Now, for me, I decided that all my thumbnails were going to be something illustration related. All my thumbnails were going to be something illustration related. That was what I defined for my thumbnails. And yeah, it captures each of the product work there. You understand? Like I said, it's subjective. But one thing that is very important there is thumbnail attract. If you don't have a very good thumbnail, no, nobody's going to buy into your design. So yeah, either having a thumbnail that calls out things in this manner, or you have thumbnail. I can quickly show you portfolios of others. Let me so you can see how their thumbnail tend to look like. So this is a design agency, so but they do have a very good thumbnail that I can simply showcase. Although this is also another part again I keep talking about. We have designers who are more on the aesthetic side. Now I forgot to mention one of the key things: animation. Now people are putting out animations out there, and it's a very huge selling point. Nobody wants static anymore. People want to see things move. You understand? And that is what these guys decided to do here. You understand? You don't just see static stuff. They took advantage of showing more than on the basic thing they usually show us. Maybe just one screen. You understand? They decided to show more. Where's the okay? Let me see. So these are a typical example of thumbnails I'm talking about. Now, thumbnails that are catchy, thumbnails that are simple. So this person, on the other hand, he did not focus on case studies. He just wanted visuals. So it's almost like instead of you going to dribble or me sending you my dribble or Beyonce link, I rather send you this one. Yeah, that shows everything. So you keep seeing multiple flashcard designs here. These are things that senior designers like this one decided to sell out. It's trying to tell you, "Omo, I'm not here to write. I'm a visual designer and a website designer." You understand? Everybody sells themselves differently. You have to define yourself on what part of the market that you're selling yourself into. Don't go and say, oh, because you're a product designer, you only want to be building product. What if you're not really good at product? Maybe what you're only good at is website. Have you tried selling yourself as a website designer instead? Yes, and these are things people tend not to consider. Yes, and then we have this guy too. These ones are also thumbnails as well. Thumbnails that are very straightforward, catchy, maybe in different kinds of version. I think I won't call them the easiest, but I think the most advantageous guys out there when it comes to thumbnails are branding. I mean, those guys, bento view, once nice looking logo, and bam, the slam it is already a very good thumbnail. Or like us designers, we have to show stuff like this, or maybe stuff like this, or maybe even more. These also another bunch of UIs here that you can consider as thumbnails. So rather than going for the basic view, let me see. Rather than going for basic views like this, why don't you go for something like this? You just slapping your hero screen. You understand? You can still make it stand out more. You can clearly see there's a lot of space here. And those space are being wasted to do nothing. You could have just taken advantage of it. This is also another thing in your design. You probably didn't bother looking at the margin and padding when you were working on this. This is something you can consider on the long run. Yeah, I spent too much time on this toilet. So let me look at others. So we have Augustine. So I'm going to look at Augustine first. Yeah, welcome. So we have Augustine. Yeah. So as I was talking about thumbnails, so someone here is already telling me I'm the right guy for it. Let's see what I have. So just like Augustine, I mean, just like Elizabeth, I literally complained about this. You don't. Not everybody is going to use laptop and see all this. Let me show you how it looks like on mobile responsive. You've wasted half of your paragraph on just explaining yourself. Now we all know your phone size is probably cut off here. I mean, eventually not end up seeing this guy to click. I still have to scroll a bit to click this one. And we all know we're not going to read this thing. Why waste this whole thing? Why not captivate them visually? Why captivate them so much talk on things they are not going to read? You understand? You only write distance here if you know you're a UX designer or a UX writer. That is where writing becomes a big thing for you. If your selling point is visuals, a bit of research, and product view, you have no business writing 3 paragraphs of telling them that your work, you could have sold it here. You don't have to sell all the things you built in one place. That is what your about is for. If someone was interested in seeing, oh, you made 1 million from this, in fact, that should even be your bragging point. Yeah, like just like that, I did that as my bragging point here. I told them I designed products for millions of users globally. I told them here alone, I already said I'm a product designer. I do for early stage and growth. It's as simple as that. They've seen what they want, you understand, and they would like, oh, let's see what have you built? Who have you built for? You clearly see they are built for a crypto platform, are built for a fintech platform. I indicated them there, customer engagement platform, also built for another one. Now the difference between these guys and these ones were defined when you hover. Why these ones are case studies at the forefront? This is simply UI, purely UI. You understand? Just purely UI. I have no business sending you to dribble or Beyond, even though it's good for me. You understand? But I have no business sending you there to go and look at the work. And just like my friend here said, may no collect food for our mouth. As simple as that. Now moving on to Augustine. You don't have to sell all this. You can simplify it. You can still maintain a huge paragraph and a subtext, but it doesn't have to be so much. You understand? It doesn't have to be so much. Your name is here. Your name is still here, which is good. You are a product designer and you craft quality AI native and agentic experience for early stage startups. This is very nice selling point. I don't think you need to tell us anything underneath. This is very nice. You understand? What's comes to us, no one's going to read here. And then again, you also have a very good seat here, booking a call with you. But the part I don't get is users copying your email. So rather than copying your email, you could have made it clickable. I don't even think you should have made it clickable to send them to the email platform directly. Understand? Because clicking this can take you to Gmail immediately, and then they can send you a message from there. So why waste the effort of the copying email when you can just tap, click, and all? But then again, like I said, it's subjective, but it's something notable. Now we have you indicating you're open to work. I don't feel this is worth it because the fact that someone already has access to your resume, the person already knows you're looking for a job. And mind you, someone that has a job does not mean you cannot get hired and then maybe decide to leave the current company you're in. The necessary things they would participants. Um, okay. All right, so these are the necessary things that they will, someone raising hand also. Oh, okay. Yeah. So these are unnecessary things that people tend to look at. You understand? The what they call it, your thumbnail is quite captivating. And I just go straight to the point. Oh, I can see, oh, this is a dashboard. And this is also another dashboard. It told us here that this is a mobile app. You understand? Then this is also a dashboard. And I think they are both the same. Because I'm seeing they built share similar logo. So maybe it's a multi-product kind of thing. And then very notable highlight here. He took his time to highlight gains. You understand? This is actually something very, very nice to do. He took his time to highlight gains here. And he also took the time to highlight product of the day. I don't know about this, but yeah, this is actually a very nice thing. He also indicated textile. So these are like more like bragging points for each of these products. And it is something that people tend to take note of. Nobody's going to look at this data. You understand? Because too many information is happening here. I would have prefer you reduce the information here because I'm still going to view a case study. That is the thing. Since I'm going to view a case study, there's no point putting this excessive amount of information. It gave me a blog vibe. And that is definitely the kind of vibe any viewer is going to see it. It's a blog vibe. And I'm like, oh, this is a blog or an article. And then decide to view case study. It's not viewing. Okay, it's viewing. Yeah, so someone actually listened. Centralization, your content needs to be in the middle. You understand? It's very important. It doesn't have to stretch. So in cases where people have this, your content is still there. This is wider than mine, no doubt. You understand? But it's still there. It still takes in that notable space. There's enough space on both left and right. Information is well centered in the middle. They are not going to read it, but their eyes are going to scan it. Their eyes are not scanning to read the information. Their eyes are just scanning to define the kind of person you are as a designer. Oh, I will expect my works to look like this. Anytime they are reviewing your work, that is the assumption. How they assume or expect their work will be like. When any prospective hirer is looking at your work, they'll be like, I would love my work to look like this. This is very amazing. Yeah, so this is what I want to see. Yeah, you get. I'm like, this is very nice. Wow. Now, this is also a very good display of your UI. You understand? It's very visible. You understand? It shows the content there. Now, the only thing that would have made this spark more is interaction. Now, I don't know if you put it at the ending or something like that, but I can see it's mostly what do they call it? It's mostly visuals. They're all static. There's no interaction, whatever. The selling point these days are interaction. It's something you can take your time and invest in, making sure some of your static elements can move. It's a very huge key selling point for any designer out there now. Even if you don't do it by yourself, you can reach out to a couple of friends who are good at doing it. They can do one or two for you. Try and make some of your stuff in your designs move. It's very necessary. It helps on a long run. You understand? Rather than if I had an interactive element, it should have saved me a lot of time of having lot of UI screens. Yes, I got to show a lot of UI screen. Now, there's one downside about this UI screen that we don't understand. He posted a bunch of pictures here, but we don't know what they are doing. We're just enjoying the beauty, but we don't know what's happening here. So these are things I would like to know what is actually happening here. What are these data? What are this information? That is where you get yourself involved in labeling. So the least I can give an advice in this case, if you label your work, now, oh, The labeling doesn't have to be the one we see in the design. The labeling is something outside. Oh, what is happening here? What can I have a better context of what is happening in this place? You understand? These are the selling points that people would want to consider. And yes, you don't have to pack a lot of UI. This is too much. I can count. It's not already 20. Because I can see he's still scrolling. It's a lot. You don't have to put in all this. You know, I don't know if your company actually allowed you to put this much in your case study, but to be honest, this is actually a lot. It's almost this is too much. Yeah, it's good, but it's too much. You don't have to put everything. The most concentrated part is the core screen. You first of all identify the core screen and showcase. Then you can decide to now put in one or two. You understand? Or three screens that you feel they are noteworthy to show. But you don't have to show everything. In all honesty, the UI is very consistent. That's one thing that we very appreciated here. But we all know all we've been seeing so far is just data and table. You understand? And it's endless. You kept on scrolling, I'm still scrolling, I'm still scrolling, and I'm seeing it. So from my understanding, each of these header define one particular UI. So that means if you wrote import forecast, it showed the screen for import, it showed how the importing works, and it showed how the next step in importing that data looks like. That is literally what it did here. But nobody's going to have that opportunity or time to figure it out. I had to calm down, scroll a bit to figure it out, and nobody has time when looking at your work. But if you are talking about visual, you've won. You easily get it anytime, any day. Because when someone sees this, they'll be like, "Oh, this is a very good work." You understand? But it's repetitive, and in this case, you can just save the higher time by either making it interact or reduce the number of images that are there. This is too much. It's amazing. The very good work here. But now here's also another thing you could consider. Remember, you had other case studies. You can connect them to those case studies rather than making them go back. Because now at this point, I can only go by coming here. Nobody's going to want to score. So if you want to add some good user experience here, these are two things you can do. You make going back here possible at the top, or you put a scroll to the top here at the bottom right. And so someone can easily scroll back and go back to wherever it came from. And sometimes someone may just use this, you understand, to save them the stress. But that is your assumption. But then again, people tend to look at, can't you provide a good user experience in your own product? How else are you going to provide it for me if you couldn't provide it for yourself? These are things, these are little things that could be used to judge. Now, I'm going to assume the others were also done in the same way. Now, this is mostly UI. Now, in as much as I respect the fact that you put in a lot of visuals, you did not describe the things occurring here. You understand? This is not actually going to be helpful for you on a long run. You understand? You don't have to show so much, but you don't have to show so little. So you have to be considerate while showing them. You also have to describe them. You understand? That is the selling point for you here. As long as you can show the information, which is perfect, you just need to describe the things going here. You understand? Nobody knows what is happening here. You get me? All right. So yeah, or add other projects. So yes, because now I won't say it just because I'm saying it. So this is a very good example of it again. So while I have static elements in some of my images, I describe them. As little as it, I describe them. This is the homepage. I tell them what this is. Yes, I also go and start telling them this. I tell them this. I also describe this. The images are there. The descriptions are important. You understand? Imagine you are working in your final year project and you are only putting animals and their skeletons, but you did not write the name there. I'm sure your supervisor is not going to allow you to move forward. You understand? You'll be getting X in those areas. You understand? Those things also need to be applied in real scenarios. Not it doesn't stop in school. It can also be applied in reality. You understand? Except you just want to put in abundant amount of what they call it, pictures. Now you just want to make it a picture gallery, then that's totally understandable. But what you were doing there is more like a product gallery. And if it's product need understanding. Nobody knows your product, and nobody's going to read all that. You understand? They will prefer to see the visual, and the visuals captures descriptions. Those are the selling points. And just like I said, the same way you have static videos, you also have interactive one as well. Some people would love to see something move, and these are also selling points that you can opt for. It helps. And it really helps. Now, I told you about how you can provide ease of access for your users. Now, either consider the users clicking here to go back, or they can go back to the top. But going back to the top, nothing's going to happen. So I made navigation very easy for my users who are going to come in here, access it on maybe my future hires. You understand? They need to see that, oh, my experience is not just for me designing my product. I also provide that same user experience in my own work as well. And just like that, I can easily go back. So yeah. So Augustine, you have very amazing work. I like it. You understand? But then those are just some of the few things that you can consider. Let me see. I can't even go back. Are you saying Augustine? I can't go back. I have to click your name. Your logo is your name, your picture doesn't even take us back. You need to consider that too. You understand? So these are the things you need to also look at. Sometimes don't just design and just keep it to yourself. Give friends, ask them to interact, and then let them have feedback from you. You understand? Just listen to the couple of feedback. It doesn't have to be expert people. It can be people who are not even experts. Hear their feedback. Treat your portfolio like a product. You understand? And hear feedback from them, and that's how you improve it. The portfolio I've seen there, I've improved it. I have at least 50 revisions on it. 50. Yes. Not one, not two, 50, more than 50 plus revisions on my portfolio. And sometimes I still revisit it again, try and add new stuff or try and implement new stuff every time I have an opportunity. It helps. Just because you've done your portfolio does not mean it stays like that. So now let's look at the last person. Copy link. Oh, yeah. Hmm. This is looking good. Hmm. This doesn't look like a Nigerian. I give that. And the name doesn't look like Nigerian. And although it's Duncan, but yeah, I don't know about Jichu. Let me try that beers that name. I don't think so. So we have this. It looks like product a that was built using AI. I don't know. I may be wrong, but yeah, it looks like something that was built using AI. I can see. I'm seeing a bit of cloud. This thing here. It's this with AI, but it's very nice. I'm impressed. So one thing you need to note here is there's a bit of inconsistency in your branding. At the very top, you are making use of purple, blue, that is showing that AI prospect. And then by the time I went down, the color changed completely. It was like people on another word. You understand? And probably if you used AI to work on this, that's the reason why you have that inconsistency. You probably left the palette that came with that AI and decided to mix it with your own. So your own palette is at the top, and then the AI palette continued underneath. And these are our well-known cloud palette. But if you did not use cloud, no other, and I'm not shaming you because this is very impressive. I cannot achieve it. So I can design it, but I can't achieve it. So yeah, this is also very impressive. But these are things you should know. You understand? If you're going to stay consistent at the start, you need to stay consistent to the end. Now, because just merely looking at your case study, I mean your portfolio, I can see the usage of about four different fonts. There's a font here, one, there's two. And after I would assume this one and so this is three. This is the third one. I don't know about this, but I can also assume it's the fourth one. And then we don't know what this guy is here. So this one is in same is similar to this one. So I'll say you used about three different fonts here. Like where it could have stayed consistent with just two. These are things you should take note of. It's not a must. And even the ones here may not even be the same with the body text. That's also another thing. Now, I don't know what this is, but it is your portfolio. It's more like you're selling a product, and I like it in a way because I've not seen something like this where you're instead of you to sell that you're looking for a work, Instead, it feels more like you have a product that you are putting out for someone to use. You understand? And you're more like, oh, is it available? You ask questions, and let's see. Now, I would like to know how much of token you are using to keep this running because it's very impressive. You understand? So, yeah, the AI here is literally indicating you're active for this thing. So, I can simply come here and communicate with your chatbot or your AI chatbot or your AI assistant. But yeah, your AI assistant did not tell us about your work. Instead, it gave us a lot of redirections, which is not good. I can email you, which is nice, but there's no part here that shows your own work. It's telling us about your work outside your website. So, what is not the point of being here in the first place? Is already a close red flag for you. You understand? Your selling point here will be your AI telling us to come here, and then let's see the works you've done. You understand? So, just like I said, interactions are very important. You understand? But this interaction here, it doesn't sell. It can be revisited and improved. That's one thing I can tell you. You can improve on this. This is not really selling. This can be better. So let's do what he wrote. Yeah, so this is also another very readable case study. I like it. You understand? He's able to define the category it falls under. I know it's not in Nigeria, East Africa. No, not bad. So we have you see went ahead and added multiplier. Hmm. Let's see. What problem did you solve? And case study and advice. Hmm. I'm impressed. Yeah, I'm really impressed. This is very nice, and this is unique. I've never seen it before, and it's very nice. This is something someone will like. Oh, it's a very good selling point. The fact that you're able to embed your AI with this, but where you can improve on is the way these two CTAs appear. They are both dominant. You understand? You could consider one less dominant and the other more dominant. You understand? So because I'm looking at this, and this is probably like the AI being able to summarize your entire project for you. You understand? Without having to read it. This is also very considerate. And the fact that a lot of people are very lazy in wanting to see anybody's portfolio, I mean case study. So why waste the time scrolling down? If you are not going to go through it, just look at the key takeaway on what I did. You understand? You indicated yourself being a solo designer. You spoke about what you did as a designer, and then you spoke about what you built and how many people it affected. These are like three core takeaways that were actually captured properly. If I had this, my focus will now be more on what did you actually design. Let's see what you designed. Now, this is where you have an issue. But I assume that this is the old UI. This is also competitive analysis. This is very nice, showing data on competitive analysis on your research aspect. Now, when it comes to showing data, this is actually the best thing to show for research. Sticky notes and write-ups, you understand, on what you've captured. These key findings are what actually help define a good problem statement in your designs. Now, these your research here are very good, but we all know this is for visual sake. You understand? But it's still good. The most thing there is people sees this, but they're able to see the information that are actually written here. Nobody's going to actually come and view the visual of your sticky note, but they'll probably want to see a good summary that was captured from the sticky note. Now, the next thing is information architecture. This is also a very good thing again. You're able to identify information architecture. On the long run, you don't have to always show it. You understand? Because this is enough. You don't always have to show your information architecture every time. Even if you want to show it, you can write it without having to show a diagram about it. You understand? Then the next part was actually the ideation part, where he spoke about how the quick navigation would look like. This is actually very good experience right here. This is very impressive. You understand? But now we have the UI part. The UI part, he showed three different explorations in which he worked on. A lot of designers don't do this. They don't showcase this. Rather, even me myself, and I wouldn't want to showcase what I even designed for April. It's so ugly. You understand? Now he went ahead and showed the possible UI explorations for a particular design that he worked on, which is very impressive. You understand? Very, very impressive. We have this one, and this one. But the problem here is it would have saved you more if you had defined it in the image itself too. This is not really enough. That exploration here, because they look so similar at the same thing, they look so distinct at the same time. Yeah, so at some point, if I'm not a designer, I would assume that these are for one app. But we can't be designer and be able to filter the fact that these are different kind of app. So the best you could have done here is maybe like option A, B, C, and D. Now we are in you are actually trying to show an exploration. Here he showcased a before and after, you understand, where he decided to define the logo at the center more. You understand? But I don't know what claims that made you believe that the before is a 3 star and the current one is a 6 star. I don't know what claims do you have backing this. Now, someone who is very serious minded will probably ask you most of these questions. Now, one of the reasons why I'm so impressed about this guy's case study is he can present this. You understand? This is the same thing I was talking about regarding Elizabeth at that time. So, Elizabeth is a very good example of something you can present. If you were told, come and present your portfolio or case study today, this guy can actually present it. I can even present it for him. Yeah, that is how good these presentations are so far. I won't say the visual is top notch. You understand? Because the visual can be improved. The use of gradients here is kind of outdated. Or maybe it's the kind of style they have. And as I said, oh, you could have suggested for something much different. You understand? But then again, every country tend to have their own style, whereas some countries tend to follow global style or global approach. You understand? So I'm not going to say much on why this style was still maintained. You understand? Maybe it's the fact that oh, you want to maintain a certain brand identity without trying to improve visual exploration that much. But when we're talking about user experience, he actually improved it. You understand? In these cases, and he showcased it well. These are impressive things that we would love to see. But yeah, just like Augustine, he only missed out one thing and he added one thing. So the one thing I initially suggested for Augustine, if I wanted to go back and I don't want to click here, how do I go back to the top? I can simply click on this and it takes me back to the top. But in most cases, it's very useless because I went back here, I still have to press the home page. So there's no back button. So I'm stuck with either using my navigation from the browser tab or clicking on his profile picture here. Now, Duncan, you can take your time and work on a very good, maybe putting your picture there would be nice, or trying to get a very good logo would also sell you well. Now, you don't need to have home indicator here. I think we've passed that era where you're on the home page and you're still telling us you're on the home page. You understand? Because your DG is home. So there's no need for you to define home here. And then we have work. So it goes straight to it. So this is a full landing page. It's not having any extra pages taking you to next screen and stuff. So everything is seen at one glance from the navigation. You understand? So then we have the AI part. I actually saw this, and these were all bunch of AI projects that he probably has shipped out or worked out. And they were impressive. The only downside here is thumbnails. The thumbnails are not that attractive and can be improved on. If you can improve on the thumbnail aspect, I feel it will work, but they are not that attractive. Now I love this part in comparison to what Augustine did. Now this takes you to a website directly, so you're not even reading a case study. But Augustine's case, you have to read a case study. So if I'm going to read a case study, I'm going to sell all the information inside that card. I can minimize the amount of information I'm showing them. He didn't have to do that here because it's taking you to the website directly. That was the only reason why I looked at this and I said it was okay. Oh, this is much better because I am going here and this is what I'm going to see. It takes you to the product to start using it at once. I've tested it, but I've seen the website already. You understand? So this is what I can say on this. So Duncan, if you are still here or you're here, you can improve on that is done. You can improve more on the color use. I can assume you've not actually defined your brand color yet. That is one of the things I will assume you haven't defined. in a very good selling point, this is a very good selling brand color. Just have to define which is your actual color, not the general AI aesthetic. This is the general AI aesthetic in play. Yeah, now you don't need to tell us you're open to work. The moment I'm assessing your case study or your portfolio in general, I already know you are looking for a job. And like I said, not everybody who is also some people who already have the job can still have their portfolios assessed and still get hired where they leave their previous job. You don't have to define I'm open to work. You understand? There is no need for that. Anybody that wants to hire you, come and hire you. So if you have a job, what will you not right there? Close for work. Or what? I'm not available for hiring at the moment. Now, the only best time to define these things are mostly for agencies. Now, agencies tend to have the number amount of people or clients they can capture in a year. The moment they reach that capacity, they will not pick in anybody again. You will see it there, not available for all, and there will be no active CTA for you to even book. There won't be any active CTA for you to book. You understand? So that's one of the things that you should consider. So yeah, you can invest more time on your thumbnails. That's why I feel you can invest more time. I feel these are old thumbnail designs and they can improve. Best places to get inspirations for thumbnails are on Dribble or Behance. Those are the two key places where, especially Behance. Behance guys are killing it when it comes to thumbnail. And I don't think they are in the same level with Dribble sometimes. Although Dribble sometimes they tend to do it very well. But Behance are very good when it comes to cover thumbnails. You understand? You can get a very good, inspirable cover thumbnails from the likes of Behance, you understand, and work on your project. Yeah, this is a very unique project. I've never seen it. Probably may not even see it again aside your own. You understand? Uh, I probably will not see it aside your own. This is a very good use of AI. I've seen another person who has actually implemented AI on his project. I think the founder of what is it, ADP list. Yeah, ADP list. Yeah, so the founder of ADP list, that is the second person that I've seen. I don't even know if you put his this thing here. Yeah, I doubt he'll put himself. Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah, so is also his portfolio is also similar to yours in terms of he actually built it with AI. He said that he outlined that, but it can also communicate just like yours, and it's very impressive. You understand? It is very very impressive. Yeah. So I think that is it. Anybody have questions they would like to ask, or anybody that feels like they need their own review, I can still consider one more um case study or portfolio before we call it a day. Hmm. Lizzy, are you see there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, come to. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, if there's any other person that wants us to
no question. All right. Voila.
check
I'm
their
done.
portfolio.
Let me stop sharing. All right. Hmm,
Okay. I think we've had a very productive session.
that's quite good.
Does
That's good.
anybody have any question? We have seven people still here. For those that are under viewers, please just raise your hand and then the thing will bring you into the session properly.
Hmm.
Any question for Ben? Even if you didn't share your link, maybe there's something you want to ask.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Well, I guess everybody's satisfied then. So let's round
Yeah.
it up. Mhm.
Okay. So I just want to mention that Duncan, that was a really nice gospel. I think this is actually the first time I'm saying something like
I
that.
think he's done.
So
Yeah,
is
done.
it done? Okay.
Yeah, done. Yeah.
So that's really nice. I'm also curious to know how much of token you are currently using to keep that active. If you want to share it, you can put it in the chat for the curious mind that might want to explore as well. Thank you all for joining today's session. Oh, there's a message.
Oh
Okay,
yes,
chat.
yes. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm mostly free during the weekend, so you can schedule a time during the weekend, and I can properly review your study for you. Mm.
Okay.
No problem. Users can only add time.
Dan said $5. What account? What tool did you use? Claude. Claude. Okay. Did
Yeah.
Claude create the mock-ups for you, or you fed it the mock-ups? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dan. Okay, I believe we've had a great session. I must mention that this is not really so great. There was a lot of hiccups, the network, and then this cheat say it keeps turning off the video, and I think that's because of network. So I had to keep changing devices, and the recording is just scattered everywhere. I don't even know how it's going to turn out eventually. So this is one of the reasons why you should always join the live session and not depend on recording, because the recording might not actually be available. And because it's more like a closed session, I'm
Mm.
not sure. Even if I check it, I'm not sure I'm going to be putting it out there, right? Because it's more like a closed um, session, right? So that's it for today. Um, Stay tuned. I have your contact. In our next session, I'm going to send you an invite. I don't know what our next session will be yet. I think this is the first time that I don't have the next session planned out. Yeah, but once we have something, I'll invite you guys and I hope to see you guys there. So thank you so much, Ben. Again, this is the third time Ben is coming to our platform to share his wealth of knowledge with us. So please let me appreciate him. Benjamin, thank you so much. Thank you
You're
for not
welcome.
getting tired of my calls. Thank you for always coming to share your expertise, your wealth of knowledge with us. God bless you.
Sure. Welcome.
All right. Do have a lovely evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye for
Bye.
now.